What if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. That you were chosen to do something else.
It's never going to make sense. It's never going to be obvious. You're never going to walk out your door and see the obvious way that you want to go. And if you do, it's a trap. If you do go down the path that's already laid for you, it's going to take you to all the destinations that are already known. It's going to take you to all of the places that instinct drove the people before you. But if you want to go somewhere unique, if you want to go somewhere that only you would go, if you want to create something new and really live a life that was meant for you, because it's literally crafted by you, you have to take the first steps on faith. And as Rumi said, as you start to walk out on the way appears. So as you're looking at the choices that are before you, where you've got a path that's well trodden, you've got a path that literally is invisible and won't become something until you step on it, you have to understand that that's what this life is meant to be, and that the only frustration that you will look back on with tremendous regret is knowing that you did what was easy, even though it wasn't you. There's some mechanism inside of us. There's something that wants us to walk a path that's never been walked before. And the thing that makes it so hard is right now inside of you is a desperate desire for that to be easy. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. You're going to fail. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall on your face. And thank God. Because as Muhammad Ali said, only a man who knows what it's like to be defeated can reach down to the bottom of his soul and come up with the extra ounce of power it takes to win when the match is even. So what you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? Do you want it to be easy? Do you want the path to be well-worn? Or do you want the path to be yours? Do you want to know that inside of you is something that you can reach into and grab and that will be there at the moment that you most need it? Do you want to know that you're that type of person? Because if you do, you have to be willing to walk the path that doesn't exist. You have to be willing to tread through the brambles. You have to be willing to fall, because it is in that process of failure and pain and agony and suffering that you will become. That's the process that will make you you. That's the process that will shape you. It's the suffering that gives you the reserves to draw on when you need them most. So when you ask for safety, when you ask for ease, know that you're saying a prayer for weakness. And when you take the hard way, know that you're forging yourself. When you make those demands, know that you're building a reserve tank that will be there at the moment when you need it. When you walk the path that only you can walk, know that you're living the life that you were meant to live. And that, my friends, is how you become the you worth becoming.
What's your dream? What is it you want to do with your life? Dr. Joelle Martin said something that I love. She said, what would the world be like if everybody lived their dream? Here's what I found about life. It's not as complicated as I used to make it. I think that life is about dreams and stories. Everything that exists, the world at one time was barren, but everything that exists, hotels, planes, they weren't here. Everything that we see every day, computers, all of the things that we see, someone had a dream. What is your dream? I said that you have something special. I didn't say that just to be kind. I said it because it's true. You are God's chosen vessel. You were chosen, 1 out of 400 million sperm. You have something in you that when you were chosen, when you showed up, there's something in you that if you don't do it, all of us will suffer.
If you do the work consistently, if you invest in yourself consistently, 2 + 2 is going to equal 4. And 10 years of work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend is going to pay off. It just is. and you'll never convince me otherwise. And so my talk today obviously isn't for everybody, because there's people listening right now who have already bought into this. They've already bought into the fact that no matter what the they do, they can't win. And that's just not true. And I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to you guys right now who still have hope, who still have the fire, who still have the want and the will and the desire to be more and become more and contribute more and win more, because you know your life will be better and everybody else's life around you will be better. I'm talking to you.
If you're new to the Impact Secret Podcast show, welcome to the family. To my existing family, big up. Thank you for joining. On this podcast show, we shift the mindset through inspiration, motivation, and discipline. I am your humble host, ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, listen, that just simply means Ed. Now, pull up to the dinner table. I got some stories to tell. You know the slogan here, bet on yourself. You won't win unless you get in the game and play. The quote of the decade, in my opinion, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Bob Marley. Let's talk about the 3 Impact Secret value points I hope that you get out of today's show. Value point number 1. What do you want? What do you want? Value point number 2, making sense of your destination. Making sense of your destination. Value point number 3, the desire to live your dream. The desire to live your dream. Today's episode is entitled, It's Yours. Now go and get it. It's yours. Now go and get it. Well, family, let's jump into today's show. I hope that you enjoyed those audio clips as much as I did. You know, I was thinking, when you want to go and do something that is different from what you're normally doing, the sacrifices, the frustrations, the mediocrity, I can keep going on and naming. But as you can see, family, what I am really trying to say is that it's not easy. It's not easy when you desire a dream, or you desire a lifestyle, or you desire something that just will not let you quit even when you want to give up. That's when you know it's it. You're like, well, how do I know it's it? I just told you, I just said is when you want to quit and give up, and you've done everything to do to avoid it, but it just keeps coming back. You keep thinking about it relentless over and over again. Okay, I understand what you're thinking here, family. You're like, give me an example. Well, family, when I started this show, the intentions were, as you already know, it was recommended 7 days a week. And I said, there's no way that I will choose to do 7 days. It's not because I can't. It's not because I won't. It's because I know that I'll probably get started, and I don't really know if I like doing it like that. So I only kind of did it once or twice a week. And then something just clicked. Like when I wasn't doing it, I was feeling like, oh, there's something I want to talk about. There's something, I just heard this clip, and I want to expound on it more and bring it to a level in which I can unpack it and express it to the family. And that's kind of what started my journey. It started my journey because I realized that I am on a different path than what I thought that I was going to be on. That's why I said making sense of your destination. If I was ever to try to make sense of my destination, I'd probably be so lost with confusion, because what I chose to do is not that, oh, I'm going to roll with it or I'm going with the flow. It was just every time there was an opportunity, or every time I seen something that I said, well, let me see if it works, or let me see more about it, or let me do more research on it. And after I'd done a little bit of research, I went in and applied it. You hear what I just said? I went and done a little bit of research and then I applied it. Because a lot of times when we are on our destination, it's sort of similar to the GPS in your vehicle or on your phone. And a lot of times we can be going a certain way, and what we don't realize is that there's traffic ahead and we may be redirected. During that redirection, we may see sights, and we may see things or landmarks that we didn't even know was there. But because we got redirected, we are more conscious because we're trying to figure out where are we going. And that happens a lot, family, is that when you are trying to make sense of the direction or where you're going, you're more focused, you're more conscious, because you thought you were supposed to be going down one way, and now you're going down a totally different path, in which is forcing you to pay attention to your surroundings, is forcing you to pay attention to what's getting you excited compared to what used to get you excited. See, we have a tendency we have to have, I like what they talk about NBA players, and I know I share a lot about basketball, 'cause I'm a big basketball junkie, basketball and bowling, you got me, and boxing. But what I love about the game of basketball, when you look at some of the players that may miss a shot or two or five, they always think the next shot is going to go down. And some people say, well, that's an arrogance. No, that is self-confidence. That is believing that no matter what is happening, I can't make sense of my destination, of why this thing is not falling. But you know what? I'm going to keep shooting it anyhow. I'm going to keep shooting it anyway. I'm going to keep shooting regardless of what I'm seeing right now, because I believe, because I know I'm in the gym. I'm shooting 1,000 shots a day. And you telling me all of a sudden now it's not going to hit? Okay, we're going to keep going until we figure it out. And it may be something different than what we know and believes. So that's why I tell you, family, or I ask you and challenge you, what do you really want? What do you really want? And a lot of people say, well, I really don't know what I want. I don't believe you. Because if I was to take you to a restaurant and say, here's the menu, what do you want? You at least look and make a decision based on what you see there. And you have that same thing with this thing they call life. What do you want? A lot of people say they want to be entrepreneurs because they don't want to work for anyone. A lot of people say they want to work for someone and be an entrepreneur at the same time, which is great. A lot of people want to create a business in which they're able to employ people. I guess that's almost the same thing as entrepreneurship. But what I am saying and what I'm trying to drive home to you, family, is a lot of times we say we don't know what we want, but we really, truly do. So when we start being honest with self and start saying, you know what, I honestly, if it was just you and I talking, ED, let me be honest with you, I would really love to create this nonprofit. But my concern is that I don't have the resources. I don't have the time resource. I don't have the people resource. I don't even have the financial resource. So how do I get started? And that's what happens a lot of times, family, is that we allow ourselves to stop ourselves before we even battle any type of war or battle for any resources. We only see what's in front of us, not what's past us. I'll say that again. A lot of times we see what's in front of us, meaning the battle for resources, whether it's financial, time, or what was the other one I said? Financial, time resource, as well as people resource. And we don't realize that they're there. They're just waiting for us to take the required and necessary steps. Listen. I'm just going to keep it all the way a buck. It is definitely challenging and it is definitely hard to go through this process, because it's like somebody telling you, why are you doing that? Why are you doing whatever you're doing? Whether you're a YouTuber or you're shooting videos or doing podcast. Why? Who even cares about that? Who even listens to that? And then you start thinking, maybe they're right. Why am I wasting my time? Maybe I could be working on this, or maybe I could be working on that, or doing this or doing that. See, I made it a priority to make this show a priority for me 5 days a week. The reason why I made it a priority, and I put back a lot of different things that I was working on and focused on this first, and then the things that I'm able to do, the other two things that I want to do, I'll focus on that after this is done. But I made this a priority because I truly believe that this has so many different advantages that the other two things, which are big and great, but it doesn't allow me to develop the skill set that is required. Do you think if I'm doing this 5 days a week, 365 days a year, do you think eventually something is going to come out of this great? It has to. It has no choice. If I'm willing to show up every day, put in the required and necessary work to make this thing happen, if I know what I want, and again, family, don't get locked into what you want to. I want to be clear there too. I know sometimes people say, well, what do you want? And it's sort of like, when you were in high school or even middle school for me, what do you want to do when what do you want to go to study when you go to college? And you're like, college? I'm not even thinking about that right now. And then when you get to high school, it's even more intense of like, what do you want to be? And you're trying to figure that out. And then so you just go and take something to try to figure it out. And then you're like, man, I still don't know. And you feel bad because people are figuring out what their thing is, figuring out, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. See, family, you need to start somewhere, but don't be alarmed and don't get beside yourself or get frustrated with yourself if you find yourself pivoting towards something else. There's a lot of people that have various degrees or various skill sets in a certain area and then find themselves in a whole totally different field and are excited that they took the risk on themselves to try something else, to test out something else instead of going in the particular field that they originally was going in. So when you're questioning about what do you want, I mean it in a way of challenging you to go out and test different things, to go out and see what gets you excited, to go out. And excitement is not the whole point of, I shouldn't even use the word excitement. I should be more clear and say, what can you find yourself doing once the feelings and the emotions have left the building? Oh boy. Because that's what you're going to need. That's what's going to be required of you. There's been times, and I've shared this with you before, family, where I don't want to get on the mic. It's not because I don't want that. I don't enjoy this. It's just, I'm like, oh man, I got to go do this. I got to do that. But I've told myself that for a year, I wanted to make this a priority. And that's what I've been doing. So family, when you decide to make a conscious decision to go after your dream, don't be alarmed if your destination takes you on various trips. I remember when the first time I rode Southwest and I was confused. Now you're saying, what are you confused? Because one thing about Southwest, and I don't know if they still do it, I haven't rode on there in a while, but they would make so let's say we were leaving Dallas, Fort Worth, where I'm from. Well, not where I'm from, where I live. Excuse me. I'm from Michigan. And let's say it's flying to, all right, let's say it's flying to Michigan. There may be a stop where it says it's going to stop in Oklahoma. And then, straight flight to Michigan. And at first, when this first happened to me, I didn't know. I was like, why are we stopping? I was like, we already there? And what I didn't realize, it wasn't my destination. It wasn't time for me to get off the plane. And a lot of times, family, we have to understand that this may not be time for us to get off the plane. We may need to ride until we can get to our destination. And even when we get to our destination, this may only be temporary. You may have to find yourself up that you're doing a change in direction and going on a trip somewhere else. And a trip is, what I love about a trip? I love the going to get there part of it. And that's like really what a metaphor, a true metaphor for when you're going after your purpose or your dream or your life ambitions, whatever you want to call it. Going there is exciting, but you have to maintain the enthusiasm the whole journey of the trip, because coming back is not fun. Because you think like, wow, I just had such a great time, or, that was just amazing to have had that opportunity. And when you look at it, family, as a whole, you have to treat your journey to going after your goals and your dreams the same way. You have to treat it as you're on a trip, you're on a journey. And sometimes you may need to stop and get rest. And sometimes you may need to do certain things. And I know you want to get there faster. I want to see you get there faster. I want to get there faster. But all of this that you experience is going to be worth it in the end, because you're going to be able to have a story to inspire someone else. That's my main goal here, to inspire. Besides, well, let me be clear. I want to inspire and motivate, but I want to show the disciplines that's required, because we talked about how you can be so inspired and motivated, but you take no action. You're not disciplined. So I had to get back to my disciplined ways. Today I got up, a 3:45 this morning, because I know I had to get back to that. And I'm looking at the time I got plenty of time now compared to how I was rushing. But I hated getting up that early, because I was enjoying being able to sleep in and then go to my 9 to 5. But every time I would sleep in, I would wake up with a frustration like, you know better than this. All you got to do is just get up. Like I felt like the dream was just sitting right next to me, just shaking his head. Like, really, this is what we doing? So I tell you this, family, when you are going after your dream, when you are living your truth and your dream, just know that stop trying to make sense of the destination and live your best life. Live the life that you know that you're meant to live. Because if you don't, you're going to look up and be like, what happened this whole time? What was I thinking? I hope you enjoyed today's show. I have been your humble host, ED. This has been another Impact Secret Podcast show. It's yours now. Go and get it. I'm out. Peace.